Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
Michelle on YouTube wants to know, what do you do when you're at the store and your child wants chocolate or cookies every time we go to the store? How can I explain to him that we can't have it without him crying and throwing a fit? It's a great question because we've all been there, right?
It's a terrific question, and you know, there's no easy answer to this because basically this is one of those things where Shannon and I, there's lots of different solutions, by the way, and I can give you lots of different options, but they all take a little bit of effort. This is one of those things where we think we can handle a tantrum in the course of daily life, and you can't. You actually have to do an intervention for this, which basically means you will need to find the time outside of your normal routine of going shopping where you practice your child behaving in a shopping area. So, and it's not when you're shopping, because when you're shopping, you're engaged with and busy and trying to find the right foods and whatever it is. But this other intervention of how to fix that problem, it requires several visits. It requires you to go in and only walk in for, let's say, this is one way to do it. There's many ways to do it, but this is one way to do it. It's just you go in and you know probably the aisles and the locations and the things that will set your child off. So you will, initially you just go in, let's say, and you only walk into the very front area and you leave. And assuming you've caught your child not crying or tantruming or wanting anything, you leave, and as soon as you leave, you give your child a big reinforcer, candy, whatever it was that he or she wanted. And he didn't, because now you're reinforcing him without him having had a tantrum. So now the second time you go in, another day, and you go in a few more steps, and you go to the fruit area, let's say, where there's nothing enticing there for the child, and you leave. And when you leave, you give your child fruit, a candy again, or whatever reinforcer. So you keep doing this. And if your child ever does actually tantrum, you leave and you don't give a reinforcer. And that's the key to it. I mean, the bottom line is what you're trying to teach your child is that I will give you this candy, but not if you tantrum. I will give it to you if you're able to be calm and quiet. And then you will get that reward. And by the way, you can use things like a timer, for example. You will gradually increase the time that your child is supposed to wait. I mean, and all of these suggestions it would constitute just one way of doing it. There's lots of different ways to teach your child this. The key to it, though, is that there's two things going on for your child you have to understand. First thing is, they are seeing these items that are very provoking for them. So when they see a candy bar or something that the child wants, it reminds them, oh my God, candy, I want the candy, right? And so that's one thing. The second thing is they are, this is a long period of time. When we go shopping, our kids hate it. Like it's an hour of having to hang out with you while you're doing all these things. So ideally, if you could alter one of those two things, so like avoid long shopping trips if you could, because sometimes we just can't. Sometimes we have to take our children with us, right? And make sure that if a tantrum occurs, you just leave. You have the help and the ability to not give in. What happens is that when our kids tantrum, usually we're in public, it's super, super hard, as you know, Shannon, and we give in because like you have a million other things to do.
It's easier for us.
I mean, there's just,
sometimes you don't have a choice.
Sometimes you just don't have a choice. Sometimes you're about to lose your mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're embarrassed in front of other people. Sometimes you just don't know what to do.
You're like, I just have to get these groceries. Here, take the lollipop so I can get it done.
That's right.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of times what I've heard from parents is that just like the panic that we have when people are looking at us, in
The
a bad
judgment.
way.
The judgment,
The
and we all
judgment
feel it.
kills us. So what I'm saying is, like, avoid all of that if you can. If you can't, I would rather you give the child the lollipop or the reward before the tantrum occurs. So and by the way, you don't necessarily have to give them a lollipop or candy. You can also give them their favorite toy, or an iPad, or something very, very distracting. But it has to occur when you enter the place so that it is before a tantrum occurs. If you manage to go 5 or 10 minutes without a tantrum, you can also reward that. Like, just make sure you're not rewarding when a tantrum occurs,
Yeah.
or a series of behaviors occur that you don't want, that are challenging, and you are rewarding when your child is behaving well. And that's really the difference.
Okay, can I tell a really short, funny story?
Of course.
So a couple of months ago, I had the opportunity in the middle of the summer to go and have dinner with some of our BCBAs who've been around for a long time.
Right.
So it was like the rock star of the rock stars. And we had dinner, we come out, and there's an ice cream place 2 doors down, and they wanted the ice cream.
I think I know who these people are.
I think you know who these people are too. And so there were these people walking this big English bulldog, and his name was Frank.
Okay.
And Frank was so adorable, and all of us were just squealing over Frank, and everybody else in the parking lot was squealing over Frank. Frank is so awesome. And they were trying to get Frank to walk because Frank needs some exercise. He's a little on the hefty side, and he wanted ice cream or to go home,
that's
right?
hilarious.
And so Frank threw a tantrum. He dug in and he pushed back in his back legs, and he had this handle, this jacket with a handle on him, and this big guy owner was trying to get, he was like, come on, Frank. And the mom of the, because it was clear this is their baby, the mom was like, Frank, we have to go for a walk. And he would just dig in, and he would, right, and he was not going anywhere. And so all these, and they don't know that this is this group of BCBAs with, probably 1,000 years experience between them. And they're trying to convince Frank to go, and of course Frank is like, I'm staying here for the attention in the hope that somebody gets me ice cream, or I'm going back to the car. Those are the only 2 choices, right? And there came this moment where Mom went, oh, okay, Frank.
Oh yeah, I'm giving it.
And let's go back to the car. And I think she even gave him some ice cream. And all of the BCBAs at the same time went, well, that's how it's going to be from now on forever. And I was like, oh my gosh, when you're with a bunch of BCBAs, they were like, well, Frank wins forever.
That's right.
Every single time now,
That's
Frank's going to do that because Frank knows if I hang out long enough, they're going to give me what I want. It was just so clear to them in the moment. But to that mom and dad of Frank the dog, they were like, well, we just gave in that once.
Yeah.
But all of the BCBAs were like, good luck with that.
Exactly.
Frank now knows that works. So,
right.
Clearly Frank knew from before. But I thought, go to dinner with BCBA.
Yeah, honestly. They're secretly thinking these things.
Right.
But that's the thing, if we reinforce tantrums, or that becomes our mode of communication. I mean, this is not just children on the spectrum, it's
everything.
Everyone.
Everything
it's
and everyone. Yes.
If anyone ever tantrums and you give in, they now learn that their tantrum is effective. So
listen, I have said time and time again, if I could throw a tantrum and get out of doing my taxes, I would throw a tantrum every day. I could schedule it. I would be like,
Absolutely.
see, I don't want to have to do my taxes. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.